Happy Saturday, April 6th. I'm Kimberly Perot, and welcome to Wasatch Weekends. On this morning's edition, it is a busy one. We've got some interesting conversations with an author about the brand new book, Unsealed. I had a conversation about my brother's brand new film project. He is starring in the new series called Blue Ridge on the Cowboy Way channel. Plus, we make a fun caramel pretzel snack that you're definitely going to want to check out. And then we've got Nuzzles & Co. as always with Josh and his furry friends and more. But before we get started, let's take a look at today's weather.
Hi, I'm Nicole Gayton. I am an artist out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I am a very colorful wildlife artist. Here I am today, about 20 years later, doing this full time. As a kid, I've always been really a big animal lover. That's part of the reason I paint wildlife. Growing up in Jackson Hole, my parents made it a huge part of our lives, getting out into the wilderness, hiking, having animals. We had 2 dogs growing up, a cat. I was obsessed with horses, and somehow I convinced my parents to buy me a horse and then a second horse. And we didn't have the space for horses, but that was one of my first animals that I drew incessantly. And then art and horses were my life, and it's one of my favorite things to draw. My love of animals just grew, and I am a big contributor to a lot of wildlife funds in Grand Teton National Park, giving them a lot of the funds that come from my paintings. So I get asked over and over again how I came up with this technique, and many people don't know that I use a squirt bottle similar to like a diner style ketchup bottle. I mix up black paint and water, and then I lay my canvas on the ground and I go wild. You can see that it sprays out, all these little black marks come out, and I came up with that after being young. I was detail-oriented. I would sketch out my drawing, and I would never finish a project in my high school art classes until one day my teacher was like, you need to just like let loose, let it go. And we came up with this idea when we were working on painting projects to use a squirt bottle, and that would help me complete my projects. So we tried it out, and it was just like a magical experience how could get a drawing done within like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And that's how things kind of evolved into this really wild style for me. Ever since, you know, it's evolved and become this whole magical process. I think in the area that we live in, wildlife seems to be a very popular subject matter. I also really enjoy painting their personalities and their eyes, and it's been a really fun avenue to go down. I have decided to kind of experiment with some new color, some new subject matter. I typically only do one animal per piece, and I've really kind of like challenged myself to put in more animals into one piece. So you'll see when we pan out here that I've done, you know, 3 foxes in one piece, I've done 2 bison in a piece, and then I have a really spectacular piece that is 6 feet long with, I don't even know how many bears, but there are probably 15 bears in there. I would love you all to see that. So I ended up in Park City meeting Colby, the owner of Pando Fine Art, by contacting him probably 5 to 10 times over and over again, begging him to take my work. I know that hundreds of artists get in touch with him. And I think it was either, I can't remember the 5th or the 10th time, that he finally responded, like it was the first time, "Oh, I've been watching your art and I really want you here." And he took a chance on me. I think I was in one gallery at the time in Jackson, and I came here on a Memorial Day weekend, and I think 5 of the 6 pieces I brought down sold in the 3 days I was here. And so it was like a match made in heaven, and I have been here ever since. And I believe that was 5 years ago now. So it's like our 5th year anniversary, and it's been really great ever since. Just being here in this gallery, the people that work here are so wonderful and incredible that, I mean, coming down, just making the trip is worth it. Come on down to Pando Fine Art to see my new work. It is right across from No Name Saloon and right next to the post office.
Now, music moves the soul, and Gretchen had a conversation with the lead singer of the band We Are Messengers, all about spreading love and light and positive and uplifting messaging as well. Let's take a look.
Welcome back to the show. Now I'm really excited to talk to this amazing human being, Darren Mulligan from We Are Messengers, the Christian rock band. How are you doing, Darren?
I'm doing great. I'm very well, thank you.
So I just said to Darren off screen, I have to go there. Your voice, I love your accent. It is brilliant. It is just amazing.
Thank you. It's the only one I have.
I know.
I lived I lived out in Nashville for about 9 years, and I desperately hung on to my accent, so I still have it, thank God.
I know. How funny would have that been, an Irish Southern twang? I don't know how that would sound. I'm not so sure about that.
Not so good.
A little different, right? Now, Darren, I am so excited to speak to you because I try to live my life with positivity and looking for the beauty in people and really finding the goodness in things, situations, and people. And it sounds like through your band, you guys do just that. You really try to show people the beauty and the kindness that the world can have. So, kind of give me some background about you and the band and what what your message is.
Yeah, well, I love your attitude, by the way. You know, we live in a culture our culture is a little bit broken. It's a little bit messy. Everyone's kind of trying to find hope and meaning and purpose. And, you know, that's part of my story. For much of my life, I chased hope and meaning and purpose in substance and in promiscuity and in violence. And a few weeks before I got married to my lovely wife, Heidi, she led me to faith in Jesus, and he has transformed how we see the world, how we see people, how we live our lives, and how we love people. And so our music is just an extension of that. You know, our music, really, the whole purpose is to remind other messy, broken people that you're not too far gone, you're not too dirty, you're not too broken, that there's a place for you with Jesus. And all you have to do is take a walk towards him. And right now in my life, Gretchen, it's joy. Joy is the thing that is sustaining me.
Love it.
And so I have sold all of my happiness and found joy, and that's all I really need.
I love this because you can speak from a place where you are that person that went through, and you probably did feel, I don't want to speak for you, but a bit lost and maybe didn't know what direction. And then, you know, here comes your wife, and I'm sure you feel, again, I don't want to speak for you. I feel like I know you, you're my friend, but you feel like God probably placed her in your path for that reason.
Yes, no, absolutely. And you're reading my mind and my heart because my story is the same as your story. Like, you know, I think one of the things that is difficult, I'm an American.
Now, who doesn't love a salty and sweet treat? Gretchen and I got into the kitchen and we made a delicious Rolo pretzel bite. What is that, you may ask? Let's take a look. Gretchen, we're in the kitchen.
We are in the kitchen.
So much fun. And I know that you are not giving yourself enough credit because I think you have some sneaky tricks up your sleeve.
You know what it is, Kim? I thank you for that. I actually am a very creative human, and I am very artistic. I don't like following the rules. So that's sometimes just following directions. Looking at our fearless leader, she's smiling at me right now. No, I am having fun with this, and I love learning. I think this is great, you know. So I'm excited. I'm going to venture out a little more with my cooking skills.
It's true. Well, we also love the national holidays here on the
Yes.
show, and today is National Caramel Day. So in honor of that,
Okay, cool.
we're making a treat with Rolos. When's the last time you've had a Rolo?
So this is so funny that you asked. When I used to go to movies with my dad and my mom, I'd always get like Rolos or something like that. So probably since the movies.
That's
like
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So we're making what the internet likes to call the Rolo Pretzel Delight.
Okay.
So it's really easy, really simple because you only need 3 ingredients. So pretzels, Rolos, and then whatever topping you want. You know, traditionally you can do pecans at the holidays. Sometimes people do M&Ms, but if you want like fun and bright colors, we've got M&Ms here as well. So
well, and that's so cool too, because I was just thinking when you said holidays, you could do the red and green M&Ms for a baby shower. You could do pink and blue. You can go all out.
Exactly.
That's cool. Yeah.
Like it's honestly, and these are a huge hit every time. So easy. We're just gonna go ahead and get started. You can use any kind of shape of pretzel that you want.
Okay.
So we'll put a couple of pretzels down on our parchment paper.
And do they need to be separated?
They do. They do. So once we've got, you know, we'll see how many we'll make.
And Kim, I was wondering too, because a couple of my friends have loved these segments, and they were wondering, do you find these on TikTok, YouTube, all over?
It's kind of all over the place,
Okay.
really. You know, I talked to, and you don't want pretzels that aren't flat, by the way. So you want
eat it.
a nice, honestly, I would, you know, maybe at the end of the segment for sure. But no, it's fun. I like some of these are recipes that I've known growing up, and some of them are from TikTok. You know, we've done a few where we haven't actually made it before.
Right. No, I
ahead of
love
time,
that.
and so it's always like
The reason I was asking is so often on TikTok I see these ideas and I'm like, do I want to try? So I love that. I think that's really cool.
It's so great. So we've got the shareable snacks of the Rolos, and this is going to be the part that probably takes the longest.
Okay.
So we've got our oven preheated to 350 degrees, which is really great and really easy. And then while the oven has been preheated, we're just going to unwrap these Rolos. So this is the part that's going to take us.
I want to pop one in so badly. I will wait.
You know, if we didn't have to talk,
I know. I'm like,
we'd be sitting here
take it
snacking
away.
on
There you
these
go.
things. And you're just going to layer the Rolo on top of the pretzel.
Okay.
Which is great. So
did you make these when you were little?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
did.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, so this has been around for a minute.
Yeah,
That's so
I've made them. Like I love this recipe because it's just so simple and delicious, and you can really pop these like you're eating a bag of popcorn, which is probably a bad thing.
No, but I love that you're teaching us more about these like small, simple tricks of the trade, because oftentimes when I have people over, I'm like, I'll just go to, you know, our local grocery store and just pick something up, pay extra. This is simple and it's not that expensive.
It's not. It's really not.
I can wow my guests.
Exactly. You can get all of this for under $20, which is great.
That's and
you know,
especially
even
right
with
now.
rising inflation.
I was just about to say it is wild.
Yeah.
No comment.
Exactly. And you know what I love about this too? My mom always says, don't go to a party empty-handed. So
it's true.
If you're showing up to someone's house, this is honestly the easiest thing you could ever do. And it's taking us longer because we're talking in between.
No, this is fun too.
You can prep it in 8 minutes or less typically.
I love this. I know an 8-year-old that would be loving this right now. So I think I'm going to see her this weekend. Maybe I'll make these with her.
There you go. There you go. I'm sure we'll have leftovers. So we're just going to keep on unwrapping these, and you know we can keep going, but you want to put it in the oven for about 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
You don't want it to fully melt because you don't want the caramel and the chocolate to melt all over the pretzel because they kind of have to maintain that hat shape.
And one thing I had a question of too, because I've done this with cookies. Obviously, the pretzels will not expand, but these are going to melt. Do we need to have them so far apart, or does that not matter?
No, it really doesn't matter. You can kind of just cram it in here because we don't want the caramel and the chocolate to melt completely.
Okay, that's
cool. So that's the best part.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm like, maybe we'll just.
I know, right?
I feel like we're in Willy Wonka, the Golden Ticket, unwrapping all of that.
I know, and love the remake. It's so good.
It is so good. Oh, I loved it too.
It's so good.
I saw it in London, and I was like a little. I think I
what a
liked
great
it.
place to see it.
It was pretty brilliant.
Wonderful.
It was cool. All right. Oh, what am I doing?
I
Getting
love a
excited.
good chocolate and salt combination, so this is just one of my favorites.
Too.
But National Caramel Day, you know what's fun? One of our camera guys, his mom makes her own salted caramel. So
Is it Ben?
It is Ben.
I knew it. I was like thinking, I'm like,
Awesome.
That's amazing.
So I'm going to say, you know what? I think these are plenty enough. We wanted to make a few just so that our the guys behind the scene can have some.
I
as
know.
well,
You
'cause
should see these men behind us just wanting this.
these are going to go so quick. We're going to just throw some of these pretzels off, and then once we're popping them in the oven, and that's going to be we're going to pop it in there for about 3 to 5 minutes.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to slide over here, put this in here, looking great. So it's pretty fun. So I love this recipe because we talked about, you can do different pretzels, you can do M&Ms, but this is a really big hit. And one of my favorite ways to make these two is, I love this.
Okay, tell me.
It's going to be so
I'm
perfect.
like dramatic
You
pause.
can make it look like a cowboy hat. By putting it on a Pringle, and you can dip the Pringle in chocolate.
That's
and
cute.
Like wrap it with some licorice or sprinkles or whatever it is.
That's super
That's
cute.
one of my fun ones, but we're not making cowboy hats today. We're keeping it traditional.
You just gave me a great idea because I want to do a Beyonce party. I love the Queen
Cowboy
Bee.
Carter.
Yeah, it's first Black woman to win an award for a country song. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yes. Okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my Beyonce moment. The cowboy hat. I love this.
You just cover it in a little bit of sprinkles, and people think it's glitter like a disco ball.
I love.
Lots
You're
of fun.
really opening my eyes to this whole. I'm starting to enjoy cooking more. Thank you.
That's great. So we're just kind of letting them melt a little bit. It's probably been about 2 minutes in the oven.
Cool.
You can always just kind of check it by looking at the light, and it's always fun to find where the light is on this oven. They're looking good. We're probably going to give it about another 30 seconds.
Oh, that looks so good.
Then we're going to pull them out, and when we pull them out, we're going to basically finish them off. We can do it with pecans.
I love this.
Some people have nut allergies, so you don't necessarily want to always do that. I like it with the pecan. How do you say pecan?
What?
I know. It's always a thing.
Pecan pie.
Yeah.
Pecan pie. Pecan. Yeah, that's weird.
It's funny. I've been told I'm a mix of Southern and Northern with how I say
Did you
it.
I had to think about it. I'm like, pecan pie. I don't know. Pecan.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and pull them out.
Awesome.
I think they should be good now, and I'm gonna slide over. Yeah, they're not melted, but they're soft and warm enough.
I'm excited.
Which is great. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
slide them in
perfect.
right here. And you can see it. You can tell that they're starting to melt a little bit. And now this is the fun part. We get to be creative.
I love this.
You can put a
They
pretzel.
smell
You can make a
amazing.
pretzel sandwich. We can add pecans. You can add.
They smell so good.
They smell so good.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Happy breakfast to us.
I know, literally. I was just thinking I had granola and yogurt, and now this is fine. It's good.
So we're just gonna push it down just like that, and you can do the same thing
Oh,
with
I
M&Ms.
love it.
And then you can do a pretzel sandwich. We're gonna do a variety here.
I have so many ideas now. I was thinking about how you can personalize M&Ms.
Oh my gosh,
For like
yes.
engagement party or a wedding or birth
Yes.
announcement or
How
anything.
fun would that be?
Yes.
I'd love that. I know that's a good
That's really cool.
hint hint.
Oh, geez.
Engaged.
Oh, you're so cute. I love you.
Yeah, I think we'll do a couple more with the nuts and the
okay.
M&Ms, and then we'll do a couple with pretzels on
I'm
top.
throwing them.
Hey, you know what? It's okay. When in
It's
the kitchen,
early. Yeah.
it doesn't matter as long as the finished product, when we're done, looks
These
great.
are really cute. I really like it.
It's really fun. So we can even do a couple pretzel sandwiches. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. I'm all about this sandwich.
Awesome.
Sandwich.
That looks good to me on the pecan side. Or pecan. It depends on what you want to
Pecan,
say.
pecan,
We'll throw a
pecan
couple,
pie.
couple here, and we'll make a couple sandwiches. Just like that.
That's so cute.
Oh, these are literally the best thing ever.
Oh my gosh.
So, National Caramel Day.
I'm here
Rolo
for
pretzel
it.
delights.
Yes.
What a delicious and easy
Do you
snack.
see the smile? I'm like, I didn't know I really wanted chocolate this morning. I want it. I'm like, I'm so excited.
It's true, and if you were in a hurry, you can like set them in the fridge and let them kind of harden up
How
and like melt
fun.
together. But you just let them sit for about 10 minutes, and they're ready to eat.
Do we have a name for these?
Rolo pretzel delights.
Rolo pretzel delight.
So,
RPD.
National Caramel Day. Chocolate, salt, caramel.
I'm here
best,
for all
best
of it.
breakfast ever.
I'm here
Happy
for it.
Friday, Gretchen.
Happy Friday. Wait, Rolo pretzel day. RPD day. RPD day. That's what I just
RPD
said.
Day. Well, we've got a lot coming up in this next hour, so stay tuned. Go fill up your cup of coffee or cup of tea, whatever it is, and we'll be right back. As always, Josh and his furry friends at Nuzzles & Co. Julio had a conversation about what has been going on over there, and we get to meet a new furry friend. Let's take a look.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Now, as every week, we have two very special guests joining us here from Nuzzles & Co. We have Josh and a very special furry friend, as he usually brings on the show with us today. And we are here to hear all about the updates and everything happening at Nuzzles. Josh, how are you doing? What's going on? Good to see you again.
Really great. It's nice to see you too. As you can see, I've got a little bit bigger than a puppy today.
I was just going to say, you've got a big lap dog there with you today. Tell us all about who you have with you today.
This is Willard. Hi, Willard. Can you say hi to the camera, bud? He's about a 2-year-old adult dog, and he knows that I have treats here, so he's really excited about that.
Yes.
He came from the res down in the Navajo reservation. He immediately kind of became a staff favorite with us. He's really smart, and actually we found out after a couple of lunches went missing that he learned how to lift up latches and actually
Wow.
let himself out of his kennel. So we have to put locks on his door to ensure that he's not actually escaping
Yes.
and getting out. But he's created a little bit of mischief with his intelligence, and so we know that he's one of these dogs that just he needs an owner that's going to pay a lot of attention to him and maybe
Right.
do some fun trainings, teach him
Yeah.
some tricks.
What a smart dog. Willard, he is up for adoption, right, Josh? Tell me a little bit about, or remind everyone at home, what that adoption process looks like.
So you can go to our website, nuzzlesandco.org, pick any of the animal names that you're interested in. So you would type in Willard in this case, and it will bring you a link to his adoption application. Once you get that
Yes.
application filled out, we approve it or deny it. If there's any reason, we have a conversation about that. And then from there, we do a transfer of ownership, and you have yourself a happy new member of your family.
A happy new member of your family. And it looks like Willard loves to cuddle around. I see he's, all up over your lap and stuff. So definitely a great companion and a great addition to any family. As Josh mentioned, maybe requires a little bit more of attention, but definitely, a great addition to the family. And there he is, looking great for the camera as always. Josh,
He's a handsome boy.
we were at the adoption center a few weeks ago, and we got to check out the space and check out some of the puppies and some of the animals there. Can you give us a little bit of an update on maybe some of the animals? I know we saw Mother Earth and some of her puppies, and I know there's some updates there. So what's the update?
Yeah, so Mother Earth, we've since done a social media post and we've had a lot of attention. She's still at the ranch, so we haven't quite had her adopted yet.
Okay.
But one of the dogs that we had talked about when you were with us was one of her kids was Jupiter, who's a all white dog, and so
Yes.
we've discovered that he was deaf, and we got to celebrate his adoption last week,
That's very cool.
which is always pretty cool when you have a dog that maybe has a disability or maybe something that requires a little bit more work for an owner.
Yeah.
When you see one of those dogs go out of the shelter, we really kind of celebrate that as a big victory.
Yeah, that is very special. And I remember seeing, the two little puppies that were there, Mother Earth's puppies, and the fact that one of them was able to get adopted. I think that's very cool and a very special update and a very special thing to hear. I loved, like I said, Josh, just kind of checking out the adoption center. It's a very cool space. And, we also got to see some of the kittens there as well. And I think just overall, I think people at home, kind of love to watch and love to see what the adoption center looks like. I know when we were there was also some guests that came in and that were kind of interested in adopting a pet. So it was just a very unique opportunity and a very cool thing to see. So I just kind of wanted to hear a couple updates, and it's cool to see that one of the puppies got adopted, and Mother Earth is still looking for her home.
Still looking for a forever home. Cat wise, we actually have been adopting cats out pretty fast, and we've noticed as we've tried to pull from other shelters, cats are just not as numerous as they have been in the past.
Okay.
That being said, it's almost kitten season. So one of the things I like to say is if you see kittens in the wild, before you interact with them, kind of keep an eye out, make sure that mom isn't like out hunting,
Right.
which is often the case. So we as humans oftentimes want to intervene, and sometimes the best thing to do is just wait, kind of keep an eye on them. If the kittens that you see in the wild do look really dirty, disheveled, and uncared for, maybe that's the time to call a shelter or animal control and see what kind of help they can offer.
Yeah, That's a very important tip, Josh, and something to keep in mind. If we happen to run into some kittens or any animal really out, out in the wild. Are there any tips for dogs, maybe specifically, if we happen to run into maybe a stray dog or a puppy out in the community?
Similarly, I mean, a lot of dogs that are connected to people have microchips at this point.
Yeah.
So we recommend contacting, animal control, and they'll scan the microchip, or if the animal doesn't have one, then it enters the system. We really do pull from overcrowded shelters, so there's always a chance that a dog going into animal control ends up at Nuzzles.
Awesome. Well, there you have a couple important tips from Josh about, what to do if we happen to run into maybe a cat or a dog out in the wild. Now, Josh, I also know that you all, or there's going to be a very special event happening that's going to benefit Nuzzles. So tell me a little bit about that.
That's correct. On Saturday, April 20th, up here in Park City, the Puppy Pals Comedic Stunt Dog Show will be at the Eccles Theater, and they are generously donating a percentage of the box office proceeds. So if you buy a ticket for you and your family to go see that fun comedic dog show, you'll actually see Nuzzles in the lobby with some puppies to greet you as you arrive. But you're also going to be supporting our vital programs with your ticket purchase.
And who doesn't love to watch or see the puppies interact with some of the pets, and also, enjoy this awesome event? April 20th, so Nuzzles & Co. will be there, and you will also be supporting. So get on out there and enjoy this event. Josh, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Shelters, we only succeed with the support of the community. We have a lovely, amazing community in Park City, and we're always grateful for your support. But if you feel like you have some extra time and you want to volunteer it, come walk a dog, come pet a cat, or ask if there's anything else that you can do around here.
Awesome. I love that. Lots of opportunities for the community to be involved as well, and spend some time, like I said, with some of the animals that you all have over there at Nuzzles & Co. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that Willard gets adopted soon and that he finds his home. I know he's still around there with you.
He's exploring. He found some treats on the floor, and he's just wagging his tail and being real happy right now.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. Josh, thank you again for joining us. We'll see you again next week. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more of the show, so stay tuned.
April 7th is a big day because my brother's brand new television series, Blue Ridge, drops on the Cowboy Way channel. I had a conversation with Greg about all things acting, his new show, and beyond. Let's take a look. Now, our next guest has impersonated me as a news anchor on TV and on film, but joining me, he also shares my last name. I've got my brother and the actor Greg Perot joining me here on the couch. Greg, how are you?
I'm good. How cool is this?
It's pretty fun. I love having you here. So you've been a reporter before on TV and on movies, but excited to have you here. So you're an actor. Tell me about your life.
I am an actor, Kimberly.
I already know about his life, but tell our fans about your life.
How cool is this? Like, I am sitting on your show talking about my show.
I
Isn't that awesome?
It's kind of weird.
That's cool.
It's great. So you've got a new show coming out, but before we get into that, let's talk about acting. Tell me, how did you get into it? What do you love about it?
Wow. Okay. So, long story short, how I got into it is our mother convinced me to do
our momager.
A musical theater when I was like, I think 15. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I heard about a friend who did extra.
You could drive. You had your license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I heard about a friend who did extra work, and I saw all the cameras and the lights, and I just thought it was amazing. So that's why I got into film. Moved to California, and been pursuing it ever since.
You're in LA, so you've been pursuing it for a long time. We've seen the ups and downs of it. So as an actor, what's been the highlight so far? What has been the hardest part of it? Have you ever wanted to quit?
All the time. No, I'm just kidding. It's a difficult industry to pursue. I mean, you audition all the time and your heart goes out to wanting to be a part of these productions and these roles, but a lot of the times, people don't get to see the work we put into our auditions, and then we never hear back. So It's a very challenging industry to be a part of, but it's a long game. And I always say, if you stay at it, you keep working at it, then eventually it just gets to be your turn. And so fortunately, I never quit, and I have had some very cool opportunities so far, and And yeah.
You really are. So the one opportunity that we're really excited to talk about today is your new show called Blue Ridge. It's a brand new series based off of a movie that was released in 2020. Tell me about Blue Ridge. Tell me about the character.
Yeah, Blue Ridge. I'm super excited for this one. It's based off the movie. It was starring Jonathan Sheck, and then it's created by Gary Wheeler. They decided to do a television series. It's a really cool action drama. Think like CSI meets Yellowstone. Okay. But the cool part is it's family friendly. So you get to enjoy it with your kids, and everybody can really watch it. And I'm really proud to be a part of a project like that. So
who's your character?
I play RP. I am a deputy to the sheriff. So it's really fun. My character, he has an interesting perspective because he's from the town of Blue Ridge versus the rest of the department is not. So I have this cool relationship with the locals, but yet I have to be loyal to the law. And so it's kind of fun conflict that arises.
It's true. Well, cool. I got to go on set with you in April and watched you film, and I think it was a really fun scene because you were chasing a bad guy who jumped out of a window, and you were like running after him with a gun. I loved watching it. It was so fun. Yeah. So when does the series drop? Tell me about it.
April 7th, and everybody can go to thecowboywaychannel.com to find out some more information about it. So that's great. And then obviously we can follow you along on your Instagram and other things as well. So acting, I want to know, if you had if you had one piece of advice to give to anybody that wants to get into the field of acting, what would it be? Ooh, that's a really good question. Think long term.
Yeah.
Definitely think long term. And I would say too, it's very important to have a job that you're passionate about that can support your dream. Because, acting, you can be working nonstop, and then out of nowhere, you're not working for 6 months or a year. So you still need to work, right? And I think a lot of people burn out sometimes by taking on these jobs that they don't enjoy to support their dreams. So new actors, I always tell them, obviously get in class, just get as involved as possible. Go to local schools and do independent films and do workshops, but make sure and have that job that you still love that can be flexible and support your dream. That way you can stay in the game long term, because that's what I believe it takes.
Well, that's true, and especially for you as an actor, you had COVID that hit, and then you had the actor's strike and the writer's strike. So what did you do in the off term, or the off season, I guess you could call it?
I love cameras. I love being on the other side of it as well. So I do photography, I do videography. So that is kind of my passion in how I work when I'm not on set working. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so photography, videography, it doesn't have to be creative. You actually do a lot in the corporate side, and for weddings.
It's still creative. It's still creative. Come on.
Sense,
lighting angles.
People don't think about. I think as an average person, you don't necessarily think about that side of it, but it is. You've got to think of it, and the work that you do and the editing that you do is really great too.
Yeah, because my dream someday is to own my own production company for film and television as well. So, but acting is already the passion. It's the dream. So you have to focus. You have to apply your energy, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm just so stoked that I've had the opportunities that I had. I've been able to work with Charlie Sheen and Mandy Moore, and a really cool, just very quick story is I got to work on Walking Dead one time, and that was so trippy because I've watched that show for many, many years, and then all of a sudden, you're lying on the ground and you hear the walkers coming by. They're like, "Wah." it's such a trippy feeling. So that was a lot of fun.
I mean, I've been watching you audition for that show for years, and to this day, you made the final.
I got
episode?
The last season.
The
finally.
final season. He's on
one
the show.
episode, but I got him there.
I get so many texts from friends that say, "Hey, did I just watch your brother die on The Walking Dead?" Yes, you did.
I'm a professional dyer. Luckily, not in Blue Ridge. Gary, please just don't make that happen.
But you've done some really cool things. So, what's been your favorite project, or what's your favorite part about being on set?
Favorite project it's really hard to say. I had so much fun working on Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist that came out. We grew up on the books. Dad had all the books, so that was very surreal for that to become a reality. Got to work with Kevin Sorbo. That guy's a beast. He's just awesome. Very cool director and good actor as well. That was a cool experience. Like I said, Walking Dead, that was such an awesome experience. I don't know. They each have their unique perspective. I mean, that's what I love about acting is you get to take on all these different roles and characters and scenarios, and just really dive into them. So
Well, speaking of dying, you worked with Neil McDonough on the Warrant and Left Behind, and we actually interviewed him a few months ago.
oh yeah,
on the
that's
show.
so awesome.
Yeah, and he gave you a shout out.
He's the man.
You
Okay, that guy is such a pro. Just talk about working with actors. You get to learn from people, and just being across from him, he just walks onto set. His energy is just prepared, professional, and it's just really cool to see somebody like that and just take from them and learn from them. So
That's great.
cool. Yeah.
So, Blue Ridge, do you have a favorite moment from filming?
Oh man, everything was awesome. It was like being on set was like being with a family. I mean, this is my first series regular on a show, so it was a really cool aspect to not only come and be a guest on a set, but be a part of the whole production process. And so it's hard to say a favorite moment because just getting to know everybody, just everything from hair and makeup and just chilling with everybody on set there, and then going and actually doing and preparing your scenes. And I don't know, I don't have a favorite moment. The whole thing was just my favorite moment. So.
How do you prepare for your scenes? I know, I've seen it. I got to see your trailer with you and watch you do it.
I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to bore everybody. But I have a few different processes that I've learned over the years. I'll just go for memorizing lines, for example. I have a little process that I call the 10-10-10. And depending,
I've tried it.
Yeah, depending on the size of the role, sometimes it's 20-20-20. But basically what I do is I read it through very slowly, imagine the world, the stage direction, all the lines, everything. And then I say each line 10 times differently. So that way it doesn't become robotic because you don't want that to happen. And then lastly, I'll run it 10 lines. Now that's just the memorization part. There's a lot more that goes into preparing for a scene mentally because acting's just a focus. You have to achieve the world around you and forget about all the cameras and the lights and just kind of be here present in the moment.
That's true. So RP, so you had to kind of create who you thought he was. And so what do you do that? Like, I mean, you've always been great at imagining magic worlds when we were kids. So like, what do you do?
You know, it's cool. It's a growing process. I mean, to start, I work through a whole series of questions. You know, I try to get to know RP and who he is. And if I don't have an immediate answer from the script, then I create that world. So everything, backstory going from as early as middle school, you know, up until the current moment. What did he do when he was younger? Who was his relationships? What molded him? What's his faith? You know, what's his worldview? Because these help answer a lot of questions. But the cool part is you get to grow and the character gets to grow. And you might see this sometimes in television shows where you see actors really sink into their roles, which is very fun. So there's a lot of questions that are still being answered, but yeah, that's the exciting part.
I know, I think it's fun when I've asked you at times, you know, what's your method of acting? And you're like, you just do it. You just be. And it's true.
I think I'm a little more involved
No,
in that.
you are. No, I mean,
Yeah, I just show up and, you know.
I mean, kind of like today, he just showed up. I'm just kidding. But Greg, where can we go to follow you on Blue Ridge, to follow RP, and all the other projects that you're working on?
Yeah, you go to thecowboywaychannel.com. There's a lot of different streaming options on there, so that's the easiest way. Just go to thecowboywaychannel.com. You get all the information there. My Instagram handle is Greg Perot, spelled just like her last name, Perrow. Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You've got the dynamic duo siblings.
Wait, are we out of time?
We are. We've got time for
Real
one last
quickly, Kim,
question.
how did you get into hosting?
Oh my goodness, so many different ways, but really it's because our wonderful, fearful leader, Danielle, took a chance on me, and I am loving being here at TVA.
Well, you do such an awesome job. Thank you for having me. This is cool.
He just did my rap for me. So just like you said, we're done. So Greg Perot, ladies and gentlemen, great to have my brother here on the couch, and we'll be right back after this. Now, our military has the upper echelon and the best of the best with the Navy SEALs, but we have a conversation with the author about a book called Unsealed. It's about a Navy SEAL's way to really push yourself above and beyond. Let's take a look.
Welcome back to the show. Now I'm very excited to interview Mark Green with the book Unsealed, retired Navy SEAL. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you?
And we have Jamie with us as well. Hello, Jamie. How are you doing?
Hi, good. Thank you.
It's so nice. Thank you guys for joining us this early in the morning. And I have to say, I am so inspired to talk to both of you. And I'm so inspired about your words of encouragement. And I just want to hear about your story, Mark. Give us a little bit of background. First of all, the Unsealed, where did that powerful name come from?
I want to say it's all V, but it was as we were going through the editing process, as we were going through the stories, there was one particular story in the book that I had to unlearn everything that I'd known as a SEAL that helped me survive.
Right.
And that one instance, I really had to unseal and just be broken down to just the bare minimum to get the help that I needed. So that's
Wow.
the catalyst for the title.
I love that so much. And Mark, first of all, I'm going to get your book, and that's a true story because I'm very excited to read it. I just can't imagine that journey as you were a football player, you got injured, and then you went in to be a Navy SEAL. Give us a little bit of background about yourself.
So I was an Air Force brat, third generation military. So
Okay.
going into the military was always on the horizon. But when I had the injury in college, a buddy of mine said, "Don't worry about this injury. We're going to go be Navy SEALs now."
Wow.
And back in 1991, there were Charlie Sheen had made a bad movie about it, and then there was nothing else. So I became a SEAL, and it was just exactly what I needed. I loved the training, and I loved the challenge. So that really set my life up to really conquer and overcome everything in life just based on what you need to do to survive that training course to be a SEAL.
I love that. Now, you wrote this incredible book, and I'll have to talk to you again after I've read it, which I'm very excited about. And then how did you come into play with all of this? How did you guys meet? What was that connection like?
Yeah, I had written the show inspired by my own life about a retired Navy SEAL adjusting to civilian life and reconnecting to his daughter.
Okay.
And then, I was connected to Mark through our executive producer at Telaria Media, and I read Mark's best-selling book, and I obviously was so moved and inspired, and realized that we were both aligned in our mission, and he was coming, from the Navy SEAL perspective, and I was coming from, the child of a veteran perspective.
Cool.
And together, it was just a match.
I love this. I could talk to you guys all day. I have so many more things I want to say to both of you. But I have to say, really, what I'm getting from this is the beauty and the power and just the passion that you both have to share kind of like the human spirit. Is that kind of correct? Because I have yet to read the book. I'm very excited. I want to see the show as well. But just about how strong the human spirit is to conquer all things in this lifetime.
Yes, that's for sure. But then when I think the support network or the friendships that come out of this, and Jamie and I are actually dear friends. And
cool.
She did an amazing job of capturing both sides of it, and with her brilliant writing, it makes it actually very funny and heartwarming.
That is so awesome, you guys. Well, I could talk to you all day. We're going to have to do this again. But thank you both for inspiring so many people, and I can't wait to watch and read both. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us, and look forward to talking to you more after you read the book.
I love that, and we'll make it happen, I promise. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, and keep it right here. We have more of the show to come.
Been a fun Saturday morning. Nuzzles & Co. Treats in the Kitchen, Greg Perot, and beyond. We had so much fun on today's show. I'm your host, Kimberly Perot, and thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.